teach breakdance classes? Well, this video might just change the way you teach. Hi, I'm Coach Sambo, and in this video I will be showing you how I use 1 hour of class to teach beginners how to breakdance, or B-Boy. So who am I to actually talk about this? Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Bboy Sambo. I represent a crew called Team Schmeda, and I am also the coach of the crew called Battle Droids Crew, 2-time winner of Battle of the Year Kids. They also have competed in World of Dance, but of course besides that they have been doing millions and millions of battles. And after coaching for 15 years, well, it's time for me to help out other coaches out there and, you know, get your game to the next level. So I thought by just starting out by trying this video and showing you guys how I actually use 1 hour of class and how I divide that 1 hour of class to make it as productive as possible. So here we go. All right, so let me just start off by saying that this is for beginners only, all right? And I'm sorry for the quality. I just recorded this randomly, my class last Wednesday. And you know, it was just a typical class, a typical Wednesday afternoon class with my beginners, the first group that I have on the Wednesdays. And because I've been having a lot of questions about how I teach, and especially when it comes down to beginners, and of course, if you want to create the transition from beginners all the way to like pro B-boys, you know, you have a certain adventure you have to go through. And well, just let me share my experiences with you guys on how this all works. So don't mind the quality, just, you know, I think everything should be pretty clear in this video. So at this moment in the class, you know, we're actually like, I don't know, 5 minutes in. Just, you know, getting the music ready, and as you can see in the background, the kids are like kind of waiting for music. Let me just add that these kids are like 6 or 7 classes deep, all right? And so that means that they only had 6 or 7 classes up till now. So it's really, really a beginner's group, as you might say. So as you can see, the music just went on, and look what happens. They are already all in tune with the music, and I didn't tell them to do anything yet. I just told them, wait a second, I'm gonna get the music ready, all right? And that's something that's a culture you have to create within the class. This has to become normal. This is something that, you know, they have to know, is that, oh, once the music's playing, there's no more talking, there's no more playing around. It's just, you know, get into that vibe and feeling the music. But obviously, if you're giving your first class ever to a group of kids, then of course you can't, you know, they won't be doing this by themselves. But as soon as lesson 2 starts and lesson number 3, you know, and they already had a little bit of experience with you, you know, from the last class and everything before that, then I usually, you know, try and implement this by saying, hey guys, I'm gonna start the class in 3 minutes, and you know, you have 3 minutes to practice what you learned last week. And by doing this every class, well, basically they get used to it, and what happens is they come in the moment they hear music, you know, they're, as you can see, they're just doing their thing, and I'm just relaxing, you know, enjoying the music myself. And here we go. This is for me a very important part of the class, maybe the most important part of the class, because if they just, you know, start practicing by themselves without anyone guiding them, then, you know, obviously you're doing a good job because they're doing it by themselves, and that's really, really important. So with that said, so we're probably like 5 to like 7 or 8 minutes deep into the class. And that's the first part of how I use my 1 hour of class with these kids. The first part is just, you know, give them a little space to freestyle, give them a little moment to exercise for themselves. So the second part is I actually gather all the children together after they had the little fun, you know what I mean? And I gather them all together, and I always start with a chat or a talk. And I only do this with beginners, because when, you know, the level is a little higher, then, you know, you give them the information they need during the class. But, you know, with beginners, you actually really want to just like get that brain on the same page as you, because, you know, they have to know what they're doing. So what I would do in the beginning of the class is I would get everyone together and, just sit together. And in this particular class, they just came from 1 week of vacation. So I start off by saying, hey, how was everyone's vacation? And then I start asking things like, who practiced? And then what did you practice? I just get to know them, just get to talk with them, and just, make them feel at home with you, and that they can say whatever they want to you. So after that, I would, go to another direction. I would go and start talking about top rocks, footworks, freezes, and I don't even start to mention power moves yet. You know what I mean? I just, I ask them, what's a top rock? And then I just let them stick their hands in the air and go like, oh, that's when you just do all the stand up moves. And, they give me these kind of answers, but at least, they're answering, they know what top rocks are kind of, and the other kids are listening. So it's really good to put all the information that they've already heard about in the last classes, and just, rehearse it, ask them questions. And that's something I do a lot during my classes. I just stop and I say, but what's this? Or how do you do that? Or, I just ask questions to make sure that they can answer them. And then for sure that they know what you're talking about, all right? And if they don't, if nobody knows the answer to the question that you asked, like what's a freeze, and everybody forgot about it, then that's clearly a sign that you have to rehearse it and say it again and again and again, even if it takes you like 10 classes for them to understand what a freeze is. So yeah, I get them all together and I have a little chit chat and I talk about things like, what did you learn last week? And what was the name of that? And what's important when you do that move? I just really just talk and ask questions. And this might just go to like 10 minutes. I could, I keep talking with them. And in a minute, you see they start to get, agitated. They want to start dancing because they've been talking about dancing the whole time. They want to just dance. And I think in another way, this is actually really healthy for them because, by restricting the dancing, they want to dance more. You know what I mean? And, think about that psychology. If you're the kind of coach and teacher that goes, all right, now you have to practice because you want them to practice more, or you want them to practice better, or you want them to just evolve faster, all these kind of frustrations will obviously lead to negative effects when it comes to your students. So talk, make it fun. And, even if they don't even remember what you talked about last time, then, it's all good. Just say it again and again and again. And one day they will remember, okay? Depending on how consistent you are as a coach or a teacher. And let me just add that when it comes to beginners, your goal and your mission as coach, working with beginners who b-boy and break, the first thing they have to do is enjoy what they do. And that's really, really important. And what I'm trying to say by this is that, obviously, if you want these kids to break longer than 1 year, then you got to make sure it's fun for them, okay? And the only way they're going to have fun during a productive breaking class is when you have fun during a productive breaking class. And that's why this is a really healthy part of the class is talking to them, making them feel that everything's okay, making them understand that it is about fun, and it is about and if you have fun while talking with the kids, and you make it fun for yourself because you're not agitated by level or whatever, you know what I mean? It just, long story short, you have fun while teaching, the kids will have fun while teaching. And if the kids have fun while they're learning how to break, then it becomes passion, because you won't be passionate about something you don't like doing. You want them to become passionate about it. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm sorry, but this is going to be a 1 hour video. Like, I'm not joking. I'm really taking this to the next level when it comes to helping you guys out, because I will be going through this whole class. And during this whole class, I will be showing you guys why am I doing this and what is that and so on and so on. So make sure that when you teach breaking that you're a good talker. You want to be able to talk a lot. Being able to talk good to kids will actually save you a lot of energy. Instead of doing certain moves 20 times, you can actually just do it 2 times. And with the good explanation, it will just save you a lot of energy, because I've been there. I've been doing the classes. I did those classes, man. I've been teaching for almost 20 years now. And I used to teach like by showing and doing again and again and again. And it just becomes like a whole, like a show and tell fest. You know what I mean? Like, wow, and can you do this? And master, can you do that? And you know what I mean? Like, they're not learning anything. They got to learn so they can evolve. So, also, if you look around, you see that there are no parents. That is a pretty important one right there, is that you try and keep the parents separated from the class, because keeping the parents separated from the class gives the kids more ability to focus. Because every time when their parents are there, they learn something, they're going to be like, "Mommy, did you see that?" Meanwhile, you're explaining that, you have to put your left foot there or whatever. And they didn't hear that. So they're not focusing as much as they would if the parents were there. So, just be honest to the parents. Tell them, it's better for you to get out the class. Maybe you can come in the last 5 minutes, you know what I mean? But, trust me on this one. You do not want the parents in the classroom. So here I'm finishing up. I think we're just talking about some freezes. And I asked a few of the kids to show us a freeze. And then I'm telling them like, yeah, whoa, the handstand is a freeze. And you can do different positions with the handstand. And see how they're interacting with me, and we're just talking about breaking. And that's awesome that you actually talk about breaking with kids that are not even been breaking for 3 months. You're actually just talking with them about freezes. You're talking about footworks with them, and that opens up a lot when it comes to beginners, because when they know these words and they know the names of certain movement groups, you can communicate to them a lot easier and teach them a lot faster. So if you know that one of these kids, one of their weak points is footworks, you just can tell them, "Hey man, your footworks, well, they don't suck, but you know what I mean? Like, hey little brother, you have a really good freeze and you have a really good that, but I see you're not spending a lot of time with your footworks." And that kid will actually understand what I'm telling him. And then, he will understand why you will take the proper action to get his footworks on the next level. So communication. And look at the kids. They're all agitated right now, and they want to dance. And I love that moment, And I'm like, no, wait, and now we're gonna dance. You know what I mean? That's the thing you create. So I think any moment now. All right, that's the last freeze. I remember that. She was like, "Oh, I have my own freeze that we didn't learn in the class," and that's good. That is a good thing. And I tell the other kids, I'm like, "Oh, did you see this? Wow, that's a cool freeze." She learned it by herself, because that's something you want to stimulate, is like, "Oh, I'm going to teach you a lot of things, but if you want to create your own moves, that's your thinking and your brain that has to go to work." And that's what I'm actually, rewarding in that moment. I'll be like, "Wow, that's really great. Show me your own freeze next week." Not on the spot, because you're going to lose a lot of time. And then, although I talk a lot, I use my time wisely, because I know what I'm saying to these kids, and they will learn a lot faster. So now we're entering the third part of my class, and I think we're 15 minutes deep. We're 15 minutes deep into class, and I haven't done one single move yet. Yet the class is productive, and this is something that a lot of teachers have to start to understand, is you do not have to show everything 5,000 times to be a good teacher and a big coach. So now we're entering the third phase of the beginners class with Coach Sambo. And if you've been watching the video up till now, then you're probably a B-boy coach, or somebody who's looking forward to coach a group of kids one day. And I salute you, and what's up? And you're gonna hear from me a lot, because I will be doing a lot of videos on how to teach kids and when it comes to breaking. So the third phase of the class is what I call it a warm-up phase right now, but basically it's not really warming up, because it's kind of a mental warm-up. Let's put it that way, because what I want to do now is I want to get these kids to feel music. And this is easy in a way because you're not explaining 6 steps or headstands or all these kind of things. But you know, you want to kind of develop their rhythm. You know what I mean? They wanna understand the boom and the cat and the boom and the cat. You want them to feel that, because the thing is, and why this is actually a very recent method I'm applying more and more, especially for beginners, is that once they start to feel rhythm, I'm so excited. Once they start to feel rhythm, and this is really interesting, is, you know, this is when they start to get addicted to the dance. And you're all probably b-boys now watching this video right here, or maybe even dancers from other styles, but we should be dancers. Everybody should be dancers. And what I mean by that is, you know how it feels when you start dancing to, you know, a nice beat. It's that addiction you get, you know, you want more. And that's what I try to implement. Meanwhile, I'm trying to implement and show them how to have and create attitude. Because now at this moment, I'm just showing them what to do when the DJ drops a crazy song. You know, it's not even breaking, you know, it's like the dance before the dance. Before you even start breaking, these are the things we do, you know, we feel music. We connect to it. And this actually helps my class, because you've seen it in the beginning of the class. The moment music switches on, they just stand up, they look in the mirror, and they start to bounce, you know, and they start to do these kind of things. And this is, you know, this is not just creating rhythm, this is creating attitude and, you know, b-boy attitude, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, that track is sick. And what I'm doing there is I'm showing them, and I'm taking my time, you know what I mean? There's no rush for this. This is important stuff. I'm showing them my facial expression when I'm doing this, you know what I mean? Like, wow, this music is so nice. I'm enjoying it. And when you enjoy something, you use that face. So that's what I'm doing. I'm standing right in front of them. I'm like, wow, that's a crazy song right there. And I'm showing them this expression right here, like, whoo, you know what? I try to exaggerate, but they get the message, you know what I mean? And that's why they go on automatic pilot as soon as music switches on. So right here, I'm going, you know, a little further. I have multiple exercises. So it's just freestyling, basically. You know, I just go from left to right, and, you know, and well, again, you know what I mean? I'm showing them, hey, this is not how you want to move. If you're a b-boy or a b-girl with style, you know, that's how you use them arms, you know what I mean? You go big and you show your freeze, you know, and you know, this is something that works for small kids, you know? It's not complicated. You're not doing threads, you're not doing, you know, complex footworks at the moment. You're just showing them how to enjoy music and showing them how to, you know, move around while, you know, feeling that music, you know, getting comfortable and all of that. Yes. So I'm sorry, I had to cut there real quick because the memory card was full. Wrong memory card, sorry guys. So still, you know, almost 20, probably 25 minutes deep into class, or 20 minutes almost. And I'm still working on the, you know, warm up phase. So we're still, you know, feeling the music right there. And, yeah, basically attitude, you know what I mean? And the thing, what you have to remember here is how I actually really take my time to do this. You know, it's not like, all right, 5 minutes, and then I start to feel awkward, or the kids start to get bored, so I switch on to something else. No way, bro, I do it again and again and again, you know what I mean? See? Step, 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 freeze. Step, 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 freeze. Also, the music choice, you know, like really chill, relaxed hip hop, really helps to calm the kids down, especially if they're, you know, heavy. So this is really interesting too, is that I actually tell the kids to say it out loud. Step, 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 freeze. Step, 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 freeze. And then what I tell them now is, all right, you're gonna do it, and at the same time, you're gonna say it. If you can listen to the audio right there, I don't know if you can hear the audio right now, but you know, obviously they're not doing it all perfect, but they're kind of getting into that flow. I don't know if you saw that one kid there just tripped and fell. It's all good. You know what I mean? And this is something like I had to learn as well is you know, us B-boys, we're always perfectionists when it comes to our own, you know, trainings and breakings and results and all that. And also it reflects also in the way we teach. So when, you know, most B-boys and teachers would get irritated and agitated by some kids that would be offbeat or doing the steps the wrong way, but this is actually not the way you want to go when it comes to beginners. You actually just want to be okay with everything, you know, and be positive with everything. It's because sometimes, you know, some kids are still so young, it doesn't even matter if the move is right or wrong, you know, they're just getting used to, you know, those floor positions and just getting used to, you know, having contact with the floor. And, you know, this is also a really important one and a very easy one for a coach to do is I tell them freeze. You know what I mean? That I freeze and then freeze. And obviously I have shown them a few freezes in previous classes, but, well, you know, I try to, you know, ask who has their own freeze, and they, you know, they do their own freezes. And then at the end, I always tell them, wow, guys, you did such a great job, and I will reward you by, you know, you will be rewarded by doing 5 push-ups. I love saying that. And then they say, how is that a reward? I say, like, if you wouldn't have done a good job, then you would have done 50 push-ups. So that's a reward, that they don't have to do as much push-ups as they originally would, all right? So that was kind of like the, you know, the introduction part of this, of the class. Kids are all warmed up, you know, they got, you know, they got to feel that vibe, you know, they got to practice by themselves, and also, you know, what's very important is they got to learn mentally, they got to learn a little bit more about freezes, they got to learn a little bit more about footworks, and they got to talk about it, so, you know, they expand their minds when it comes to breaking. So, now we are entering the 3rd stage of the class. So what I usually do now is I rehearse and repeat everything they would have learned in all the previous classes. So that means, I think at this point, they didn't learn much. We're 6 classes deep. They learned the basic top rock, as you will see in a moment, and they learned like one variation of that. They learned how to, you know, do a little spin and freeze. I didn't teach them a lot, because that's something we're going to be talking about in a minute, is I only teach one big move per class. And even when kids are this young, I would just do one class of teaching them something new, and then the next class I would just do it again, the whole thing. You know, maybe a little bit of changes of exercises and stuff like that, but the core content of that class will be actually exactly the same as last class, because doing one thing in one class will make sure that the kids remember it and really can do it. Because this is also a phase I went through, is I would teach 5 things in one class because I don't want the kids to get bored. No, that's not the way you want to go. So this is you know, the moment we're actually going to start rehearsing. So the first thing they're going to do here is they're going to be walking around or entering the dance floor, as I would say it. And I'm asking them questions like, what do we do before this? You know, and basically what they want to do, the good answer is, you know, you want to feel the music. And then I'm talking about like, but if you're not feeling the music and you're just not moving at all, what are you showing? And then they're saying like, oh yeah, then it looks like we're afraid, or you know what I mean? It looks like I'm stressed out, and this is the conversation I'm having with them. And you know, as you might have noticed, I ask a lot of questions throughout my class. Every time I'm doing something, actually almost every time I'm doing something in the class, I'm asking, why is that? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? Because they have to know. And that's when you create smart students and not just copy paste students, as what happens a lot when you look at hip hop classes, they're just copying and pasting. While these kids, you know, you're actually training them to think for themselves. So see, important to move. And then here we go, rehearsing what we have seen the last classes. We enter the dance floor. You want to do it with style, you know, you want to have attitude. That's what I tell them. And here we go. We go boom, cat. We just start the basic top rock. You know, take your time. Even though they've seen it 3 or 4 classes, I don't care. We're doing it again and again and again until everyone's on beat. And if you look very carefully, there's this little guy with a green hoodie behind me. And if you look at his top rock, kind of cute, funny at the same time, is, it's not there yet. So at this moment, I am actually giving him individual attention, but I shouldn't do that. I just couldn't leave it that way. But it's against my own rules. But actually what I do is, if he's making mistakes, I would actually correct that mistake, but not towards him personally. I would just let the whole class do it again. So, I'm spotting, all right, is everybody doing it? I'm spotting if everybody is doing it right. And if I see somebody's not doing right, then I would go, all right, guys, let's do it again. And it's specifically for that one guy, but I'm not snitching. You know what I mean? I'm just like, using it as an advantage to practice, to let everyone practice the same move again, so they can do it even better and better. So we just went through that. What am I saying here? Boom, boom, cat. Here I'm basically telling them you have to be on beat. Listen to the boom and the cat. You know what I mean? Listen to the beat. If your feet does not hit the floor at the same time as the snare, as the cat, then, you know what I mean? That's how I try to explain it. Then you're not dancing to the beat. And then I'll tell them, then you look like somebody who's deaf. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So obviously you do see, I don't know, tell me about it in the comments. Am I actually taking more time than you would do during a class? Is it too slow? Let me know in the comments. What do you think up to now? So again, the little dude with the green, he's grabbing my attention, but that's actually something you don't want to do, is you do not want to spend too much attention. Because look at all the other kids. I'm actually doing the wrong thing right now, and I know it, and I'm looking at it, but it was just briefly. But meanwhile, when you're investing time in one individual kid, the other kids don't know what to do. And that's when you can create a total fiasco in your class. And it can become a total, like a total Disneyland-ish kind of thing. And that's not what you want, okay? So, again, you know what I mean? It's very brief, but I have made these mistakes that some kids really can't do a certain move. And you're like, oh, God damn it. And then you're like, you just put 5 or 10 minutes of time into that one individual. Meanwhile, the rest is having fun at Disneyland. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not what you want to do. Okay, so, it's very brief, very brief. Forgive me for this, but don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. Trust me, okay? I'm lucky that this group of kids is actually well disciplined, and, they're an awesome group of kids, by the way. They're really easy to teach. So, again, boom. You hear how the kids are saying the boom, boom. They're saying the beat with me. All right, so that helps a lot. Tell them, because usually if you would say, all right, guys, say boom, 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 ha, loud. If you tell the kids to do that, then you'll have 3 or 4 kids that will do, and then a few other kids that won't. You really have to be, very clear. While they're doing it, I tell them louder, louder. Yeah, and then they really start to get into it, and it helps them. It helps them a lot. So that was the top rock part. I'm not teaching them any new top rocks today, but we are going further towards I think the only go down they have learned, and that's basically a jump and then a butt slide to the back. They probably learned that their first class. I think it's the only go down they have learned up to now. Rehearsing that real quick. And then, they're rehearsing multiple moves. So the moves they have learned up till now are the capoeira jump, or the macaco, also, as they also might call it. That's the first one we're doing, and you see how I'm telling everybody to get ready, get into position, and then I tell them 3, 2, 1, go for it. You spot a few crashes left and right. Not everybody masters it yet, although they did learn it a few classes back already, but that's okay. You know what I mean? We just do it again. It's my responsibility as a coach to make sure they can do it. So if they can't do it now, then I just have to take action and just do it again and again with them. And, give them the proper communication just to make sure that it gets cleaner and cleaner every time. And, that's what's happening at this moment. So, yeah, so here we go, guys. We're going to do it again and again. And make sure you land on this foot. And make sure you finish off with a freeze. You know what I mean? These are things that I am actually implementing. And here what I'm showing them is like, oh, I did the move, I didn't fall, I didn't crash, but I did stumble a little bit. Is that good or is that not good? Again, I'm asking them questions. They're interacting and they're saying, no, that's not good. But I said, and then I tell them, I try to make it hard for them. I go, but I didn't crash. And they're like, yeah, but it wasn't that nice. And look how they already start to understand the fundamentals of execution of breaking. You give them examples. So here we go again. I gave them the example. We talked about it real quick. And here we go again with the exercise. And that's what you want to do. You want to give them exercises and information. Exercises and information. As you can see, the little kid on the red crashed again, which is all good, of course. So what I do is I let him do it again. And I tell him, is everybody going to land on their feet again this time or not? And they go, yeah. They just said, yeah. And then here we go. We motivate them. We stimulate them. And look at that. Everybody's nice and clean. Besides that one guy with a ponytail at the back. He's just doing his shoelaces right there. All right, so let me see if I just talked about everything I wanted to talk about until now. Also, I talked about having fun during the class. Why is that really important? It's because, the more fun they have, the more they will actually, the more they will look out for these classes. Oh, wow, I can't wait to go back to breaking. And when you create that, then they usually talk about it to friends and family. And that's when they bring friends and family. And that's good because you have more kids in your class, and obviously you want a full class, right? Especially when it comes down to beginners class, you want a lot of kids. So yeah, parents out, warm up, freestyle, talk first, blah, 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 blah. Random push-ups as a reward. We don't have to implement that. It's not really important. I just like to do it. Then, of course, we rehearse. I invest a big chunk, like let's say 20 minutes in just rehearsing, just doing what we've learned the previous lessons. Because this way, they will never, ever, ever, ever forget these moves. Even if they quit breaking, they will still remember how to do like the macaco or even the belly roll. At this point, they're rehearsing their belly roll. Sorry. And from this moment, they're doing their belly roll. And after the belly roll, when they finish up with that phrase, I tell them, all right, combine it with the capoeira jump. And they're doing 2 moves at the same time right now and combining it together and rehearsing it again and again and again and again. Making sure every single one of those kids can do the moves that are required. So don't forget, if 1 or 2 or even 3 kids have difficulties and are not doing the move correctly, then, just rehearse it with the whole team. Even if 1 or 2 or 3 kids are really good at that move, just let them rehearse it again and again and again. Because if these kids are giving you that attitude like, oh, I already know how to do that move, and they're actually not understanding the fact that a move can always get better, you don't want to give that any attention. I know that certain kids have a really good, belly roll, whatever. I don't even care. You do it again and again and again and again, because you will have the fastest and, best belly roll possible if you just keep doing it again and again. And if you reward the fact that, oh, you already know how to do that move, then you don't have to do it. That kid will never ever practice that one move again, and it won't evolve, and, that Zulu spin will just stay the same, or that belly roll will just stay the same as forever. So, just make sure you're in control of the whole group the whole time, all right? No individual special things, all right? Keep an eye out for all of that, but, lead the group and don't divide the group. So at this moment, what happened was, all right, I told them to do the belly roll, and they learned the belly roll 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago even, but I saw mistakes and multiple mistakes with multiple kids. So what I'm doing now is, even though they have learned the move, I'm just explaining this to them again. Sorry, so much humidity in the air. So I'm actually explaining them the steps one by one again, showing them over what shoulder to roll, and not just the kids that have the difficulty, everyone. Okay, and I tell them straight out. All right, guys, I see a few mistakes. We're gonna have to revisit the moves or revisit the steps one more time. Get into position. No negotiation possible. You know what I mean? Like, get into position, and here we go. And the faster I get it done, the faster, they will, start doing the moves the right way. So, yeah. Everybody in position. They do the final freeze. I just walk around. You know what I mean? Still staying in control of the whole group. I tell everyone, wait in this position. Let me look around. Let me look at your freezes. That's how I do this. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. You're giving valuable class. It's organized, and the kids are learning really, really fast. But if you look at it from this perspective and how I teach the class, it goes really slow. The slower you teach and the more you take your time to really implement what you are learning, the faster they will actually learn. Instead of teaching the fast way, teaching them 4 or 5 moves, even 10 moves in one class, they will not remember a single thing next week. Trust me. So, I'm telling them to use their brains, do it again. So what they're doing now is they're doing their go down with the butt slide, they're going to the belly roll, and from there they're doing the capoeira jump. No 6 steps, no Zulu spins, not yet. These are going to be for the next classes. These are the moves I've taught them first. Why? Because, these are... it's kind of a balance between having simple moves that are simple enough to teach small kids in one class, and at the same time, you want those moves to be cool in their eyes. So the macaco jump and the belly roll, especially if you show them how to do a quick belly roll, these are cool moves for them, you know what I mean? So that's why I chose these moves specifically, because 6-step can get a little confusing and a little boring. You know what I mean? First I want to ignite that fun and passion, and then I want to lead that towards a 6-step. By the time they're learning their 6-step, they've learned multiple moves and they can freestyle by themselves, and they're hungry to learn new moves. So it doesn't matter how boring the move is, while you learn it, they will learn it, because everything before that was fun. So everything that still has to come is also fun. You know what I mean? So right here, after the group rehearsal, I rehearsed and repeat everything with them. I told them, all right, here we go, guys. You have 3 minutes to practice this by yourself. All right? And I'm saying 3 minutes because 3 minutes is not a lot of time. And I tell them, it's not a lot of time. 3 minutes is all you get. What you get is you get that fast reaction. They want to get practicing. And that's how I create, hunger for these kids. And, creating that willpower for them to just start practicing by themselves. And I would say throughout this time, I would go 1 minute and 36 seconds left. You know what I mean? So they really, they stay sharp and do what they have to do. So we still have a good 20 minutes left. 25 minutes left. So what we've done up to now is, obviously you've been watching the video up to now. So what we have been doing up to now is we had a little freestyle moment at the beginning. We had a little chitter chatter. And then we had the warm up, which is actually just, rhythm exercises. Then we rehearsed all the moves. They're finishing up the rehearsal. And then, of course, I tell them, guys, you did a fantastic job. Your reward is 5 push-ups, of course. And then I give them a little break. So, the moment you're giving them 3 minutes to practice by themselves, this is a moment you can actually, walk around and give individual attention. Why? Because you have instructed the group that they have something they have to do by themselves. So basically at that moment, if I would go to one kid and I would go, don't look at what I'm doing right now. They're in a break right now. I'm talking about when you actually told them they have 3 minutes to practice. You can actually walk around and then just pick someone out that has difficulty with something, and you could actually give that person a little bit more attention, because the whole team is working. The machine is, every part is doing, every little thing is doing its part. Well, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. And what you don't want to do is have the whole team wait, the whole group wait for you to explain something to one particular individual. Because first of all, that one individual will realize he's making a mistake, and then what happens is he knows he's keeping up the class and everybody's watching. You're actually putting him under a lot of pressure. Let's say if I would stop the whole class and go to one person and go no, man, you got to put your leg here and you got to put your leg there. And you know how it goes. If you teach breaking, you have probably done this. You grab the leg, you put it there. You like, that's how we have to put it. Show me again. And then meanwhile, the whole team, the whole class is waiting, and this is not what you want to do. Meanwhile, you're putting extra pressure on that kid because he's going to be like, oh no, I'm a total failure because the master is telling me to do it again and again and again. You're putting that kid under more pressure. He ain't going to learn Scheiße from that. All right, he's actually just gonna panic more, and probably the chance is even possible that he won't even like breaking after that. Okay, so avoid that. Try and talk to them. When you're talking to one kid individually, do it at the right moment, or you talk to the whole group and bring that problem forward so everybody can learn from that mistake. So as you can see here, the break is almost done, and this is cool to see is that, you know, even though they do have a little 2-minute break, they're still practicing. And that is good news, all right? If you manage to create that in your class, really great. So what do we do now with the time we have left? Of course, they would usually learn a new move at this part. But what happened is last class, they had 1 week of vacation, and then the class before that, I actually taught them the Zulu spin for the first time. Zulu spin, aka all around the world. A very good footwork to teach beginners. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to, if this would have been a normal class, I would have used this time to start learning a new move. One new move. As I said before, teaching one move per class will actually make sure that they do not forget the move and they can actually do the move when they go to a battle or whatever. So it doesn't get lost. So what I did here is for this class, because I taught them the Zulu spin before the vacation, what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to, just repeat the Zulu spin because it's new and it's fresh. And if I would teach them another move now, I'm sure, the Zulu spins were going to be less and less well executed for the next class. And it's giving me more work for later on. So I'm not teaching them anything new today again. And I strongly advise you to do the same because, I gave you enough reasons now why to actually do that. So what am I doing now is, I'm visiting the small details. Which leg you have to keep more stretched than the other. And especially what I'm doing now is the directions. You do one Zulu spin and you want them to, scoop up with the leg. So what happens then is, they do their Zulu spin on one spot. And so they can actually start executing it in ciphers and stuff like that. So as you can see, the one kid there in the front, again, the one with the green hoodie, he's doing a lot of different things. He's got his wrong leg stretched and, he keeps sliding and falling down and all that. And you see, I go towards him and I give him a little bit of feedback, but you see, I know he's doing it wrong, but I'm not giving him that extra attention. And that's what I've just talked about. And you see the kid, he's still happy. You know what I mean? He's still enjoying the class, even though he's making it a complete mess for himself. It's all good. It's fun. It's beginners breakdancing, all right? Never forget that. Because if they don't enjoy it, they will never become BC1 champions. Trust me. So I've just talked about the directions, and I think I'm going to do it again because obviously there were a lot of mistakes. And here we go again. Everybody gets into position. You want everybody to get the right position. And I'm telling them that it's better to do it slow and clean than to go super fast and be all over the place. I'm giving them information, and then I'm giving them, again, the exercise. And then, again, information, and then exercise, and so on, and so on, and so on. See the little one with the red shirt? He's really, really cute. He's really cute. And even though he makes mistakes, it's all good, okay? Learn how to step away from the perfectionism when it comes to teaching beginners, okay? Oh yeah, especially when you're teaching Zulu spins, you want the kids spread out, and that's your responsibility to make sure that before they actually start spinning around, that they are spread out, because you don't want two kids going full speed and knocking each other's head against each other, because they're going to be knockout, and you're going to have to talk to parents and stuff, and that is The least fun thing to do when it comes to being a breaking coach is dealing with parents. So we did a few times. We did the Zulu spin a few times. I gave them a few information points. And what I'm going to do now is I'm gathering them all together. And again, I'm going to give them some more information. But of course, everybody has to sit down in a circle. So everybody's attention is there. Everybody's focus is well in line. And here we go. So what I'm telling them now, basic stuff, it's like if you do your Zulu spin and you spin 2 times and you stop and then you spin 2 times again and you basically talking about flow, even though I'm probably not using the word flow already, but I am showing them, listen, I stopped and this is not how you want to do it. You want your Zulu spin to be flowy. You see, I tell them at the end. That's the only time I stop is at the end. So again, I'm giving them more information in the circle this time just to make sure that I keep the class going and that they don't always stand on the same spot. We want the class to be alive. You want them to have an adventure every time they come. And then this is also a really smart move, is actually picking someone out that does the move that actually does a good job. And you want to show the other kids, because they're not always looking at each other, you want to show the other kids, like, listen, he started the same time you started, and look how good the movie is now. And this creates fire, man. These kids, they're like, oh, if he can do it that fast, then I can do it that fast. You know what I mean? And then it's kind of a competitive state of mind, but a healthy one. You're actually just raising standards. You're raising the bar when it comes to breaking and all the moves you want to learn within breaking. So I think I tell them now the same thing. You have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to practice your Zulu spin. You saw how good his Zulu spin was. Let's see yours. Let's go. You have 2 minutes to work on it. And here everybody's getting back to work. I think I just switched on some music. Shout out to DJ Cream. DJ Cream bringing out some fresh beats lately, some fresh power breaks. All right, so good moment right here. You see the little cutie with the red t-shirt? He's doing some weird stuff with his Zulu spin, and I try to make him understand that what he's using his wrong leg or whatever. But I would not go to the extreme to make sure he learns it at that moment. A lot of times kids do things the wrong way, and then one day when they get a little bit older, they realize by themselves, oh, I've been doing it wrong the whole time. And once that moment happens, they will never forget it again. That's the good thing, because they made the realization that they're doing it wrong, and that's something they will keep for the rest of their lives. So, just keep giving your class and, just help them out a little bit when possible. But at this point, I'm not frustrated that he's not doing a really good Zulu spin and that he's doing some kind of inward Zulu spin kind of thing. But, the good thing is he's getting used to floor movement. You know what I mean? He's putting his hands on the floor. He's spinning around. He's really young. I think he's 5 years old or something. You know what I mean? Like, he's super, super small, super, super cutie. But, yeah. So basically at that point, I just said, all right, just keep practicing. You're doing a great job. And I'm giving positive feedback to everyone the whole time. I'm walking around saying good stuff like, oh, wow, great job. Make sure your leg is stretched a little more, something like that. Positive feedback and then reality. Positive feedback, reality. That's the way you want to go with beginners, because they want to go home with a good feeling. Breakdance is fun. That's what you want to, that's the message you really want to pass on. And that's nothing less than the truth. You know what I mean? Like, breaking should be fun. If you do not have fun while breaking, then you, my friend, are in the wrong niche, as they would say. I just want to make sure I cover everything in this video, because if you will watch this whole video, then you definitely are interested in this. So I just want to make sure you get quality content. Meanwhile, if this is quality content for you and you are learning a lot, then, smash that like button right there. That would be really appreciated. Leave a comment, and especially questions. You know what I mean? If you have any questions, I am here to help out. Like, seriously, I am taking this YouTube channel very, very seriously, because break has to evolve to the next level. And, every contribution is a contribution, and that's how we go. So we have talked about one class, one move. Then I just will add here that I actually don't teach new things every class because I want to build slowly. But at the end of the year, I will teach these kids 8 moves, and all these kids will know these 8 moves. All right, and keep the class moving, and I will make a separate video on, exercises on how to teach. And what I mean by that is exercises you can give the kids to implement any move in any way and still make it fun. And this is one of them. This is what I call the one-on-one gladiator system. And what basically is happening here is, well, first of all, these are the last 5 or 10 minutes of the class. I basically, what I would do with the last few minutes of the class is, or I would let them battle, or I would give strength and freeze and power strength exercises. You know what I mean? That basically will lead to power moves. In this particular class, they did a great job. I asked them, what do you guys want to do? You guys want to battle, or you guys want to do some freezes? And the majority voted for battle. So here they are in the gladiator battle position. And this is a really fun thing to do because, this is actually insane. I had a lot of problems on how to get kids to battle. Because, the way battle has been portrayed in my class or in life in general is, battle is battle. It's hardcore. Everybody's watching. Everybody, you know what I mean? If you have fear of stage fear, I don't know how you say it. We have a saying for this, right? If you're afraid to show yourself, you know what I mean? It's almost impossible to get kids to battle. But this works because they're in class and nobody's watching them. It's just them and their opponent, and you're having multiple battles at the same time. Meanwhile, these kids are getting used to battle in a secret way.
All right, that's success. Let's go.
At the same time, everybody is dancing also at the same time. So it's not like you're making a cipher and doing a one-on-one battle and, you lose a whole hour because everybody has to battle once. What's happening now is everybody's battling at the same time. So it's a major win-win situation right here because, look at them go. You have 5 or 6 kids right now. They're dancing at the same time. They're battling and they're having fun. That's the crazy part. So I told them for this particular battle exercise that they could actually choose whatever they wanted to do. They could use the moves they learned and throw them in any way they would want to use them. And basically I just told them to freestyle with whatever they had. Usually when you're 3 or 4 classes deep, they don't have that much inspiration yet. But so I would tell them and I would show them, all right, for this battle, we're only going to do this. We're going to top rock, and then we're going to do the butt slide, and then we're just going to do the belly roll. And then after that belly roll, you finish off. And I would show the whole thing, and then they would just, do what I do and just battle. But now the minds have been developed a little further, and I just told them, I just went with my guts. I just went, guys, just do whatever you want. Just make sure it's on beat. You know what I mean? Before they start battling, I tell them, make sure that what you're doing is on beat and make sure it's nice and clean. Okay? At the end of the battle, of course, you want them to give them a little handshake. If you rewind that, you will see some awkward handshakes there. It's kind of fun to watch. And then what happens with the gladiator system is everybody just scooches one position to the right and everybody gets a new opponent. I think we're approaching the last 3 minutes of the class. And so what I do now is what am I saying again? I talk a lot, man. I'm sorry, man. If you've been watching this video up to now, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help out. You know what I mean? So yeah, what's happening right here? Oh, I told them, guys, usually you're full of energy, but now you're afraid. You know what I mean? So I'm telling them to use more energy, to go more full out. Some moves were a little slow and the combos were a little slow. So I'm telling them, all right, guys, just boost up. You know what I mean? And what I will say, and this is also very important when they're doing this gladiator system, is look, I'm grabbing the little dude right there. And I'm saying, this is where you have to battle. This is where you do your top rocks. This is where you do your moves. And I say this, and then when the battle starts in a few minutes, they're not going to do it. They forget it already. You know, not even 30 seconds in, and they already forget it. And this shows why you have to repeat and do the same things every class again and again and again and again, and just build a little bit on top of that every time. You know what I mean? So maybe next class when they will battle, they will probably, I hope they will be in the middle of the floor, because basically it's not getting into that brain yet. Look at where they're positioning themselves. See, they're a little far. It's a little too far. I told them to stand right in front of them, yet they already forget. So that means next class I have to say it again and again and again and again, and just make sure, with time they start to really understand that it's important to battle. You do see the energy that's a little up, that's pretty good. You see some good stances right there. You see some confidence, and you know what I mean? Even though they're not doing crazy combos, of course they're not doing crazy combos yet, or crazy footwork combinations. At least there's a little attitude, and you see the B-boy or the B-girl in them. They are becoming B-boys and B-girl very slowly but surely, and they won't forget the moves. They can go home at this point. This is cool because, they can go home and their moms and dads could be like, what did you learn? And they will be like, boom, I learned this. You know what I mean? It just boosts up their confidence when it comes to the move. And, I'm telling you, I see a lot of coaches and they teach too many things in one class, and it's all spread out. So, at some point, some rounds do become a little long. So I go 3, 2, 1, and the battle is over, guys. Great job. Give your opponent a little handshake right there. And, the class is over at this point. But before they leave, I tell them, all right, guys, I need to see a little bit more speed next time when you're doing these combos. So practice this at home and show me this next week when you come back to the class. This is basically what I'm telling them at that moment. And of course, I'm telling them they did a really great job, and I will see them next week. And you see how happy the kids are when they leave and go home, you see? And, happy kids, happy coach. I look happy. And, the most important thing is at this point is look how relaxed I am when teaching my beginners class. You know what I mean? It's fun for me because, well, obviously I'm getting paid for that, but also I'm teaching in a very chill way. I'm not creating any stress for myself, and I'm having fun while doing this job. And I get to know the kids, and the kids evolve, and that's the most important thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Well, not so much enjoyed, but I hope it was a productive video for you guys, and I hope you guys will learn how to use that 1 hour of class, or maybe an hour and a half. I don't know, it's different with every coach and every dance school and every thing, is use your hour wisely and build, because at the end of the year you want these kids to pass on to the next group, and that's why you want to start teaching them power moves and things that are a lot harder. And it's way easier for you to do that. That's a hard stage, you know what I mean? And it's way easier for you to do that if they just love b-boying. If you really get to push these kids to a level where they love b-boying as much as we love it, they're gonna start training windmills by themselves. Imagine that. That's pretty awesome, right? And that's the thing you want to do. So it's kind of like a psychology game in a way. So this was my video on how to use 1 hour of class with beginners when it comes to teaching break. And I would love to know if you have any feedback on what you just saw. Do you like how I teach? Do you think it's a smart way to teach? Do you like this video? Is this video helpful? Because I could make exactly the same kind of video for a intermediate level. That means when kids are, they have been breaking for a while, but you want to do some serious stuff with them, like head spins and windmills. How do I teach a class in that level? And then of course, how do you teach pro kids? Like for me, the pro level, it starts between mastering a windmill, and then it starts to get serious when kids start doing multiple flares. Then you know that these kids are die hard, and then you can, basically form a crew or whatever you want to do. And these are all things I would love to talk about with you guys, and these are all information patterns that I would love to place on my channel. And I will do my best to put as much information as I have stored in this brain right here on my YouTube channel before I die, okay? And I'm talking about hundreds of videos for you guys, just to help you guys out. And you are the b-boy community, and you and me, we're all brothers or sisters. I don't know, you might be a B-girl, of course. Let me know what you thought about this video. I hope it works out for you, and you know, I would love to see feedback from you guys. Well, obviously I have a lot of different ways to teach. This is one class. I have a lot of different exercises, and of course when the class is 9 months deep, you know, obviously the kids can do a lot of different moves, and obviously the shape of the class transforms. But I hope this is an eye-opener for many of you guys out there. Don't sweat the technique when you're teaching class, all right? This is B-Boy Sambo, or Coach Sambo, your online B-Boy coach. Well, if you enjoyed this video, if you're still watching until now, then yo, mad respect to you, man. And enjoy my future videos. Peace and love to you, my brothers and sisters, and talk soon. Peace.